idea for mom this Mother's Day. It's my cinnamon-swirled bundt cake. So easy to make. You've got a layer of cake and then there's a cinnamon swirl through the middle and then another layer of cake. So when you slice through, it's such a beautiful presentation. You can serve it for breakfast, brunch, dessert. Get the kids involved. It's so easy to make and mom will be so happy and proud. I'll show you how to make it. The first thing you want to do is cream some butter and sugar together. So you need 1½ sticks of butter. It's 3/4 of a cup. And I have it softened at room temperature. It makes it a lot easier to blend with the sugar. So we've got that going into the mixing bowl. And then 1½ cups of granulated sugar. Seems like a lot of sugar. This makes a huge bundt cake. Okay, now I'm gonna get this nice and smooth. Okay, you can see how it's blended and smooth. Now I'm gonna start adding eggs, 3 eggs, one at a time, and I'm gonna make sure the first one's incorporated before adding the next one. See how smooth and beautiful that is? Now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. That's a beautiful start to the batter. Now I'll show you how to make the flour mixture. Okay, this is 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. To that I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder, and just give that a quick stir with a fork to make sure it's blended before you add it to the mixing bowl. And we're going to alternate flour and 8 ounces of vanilla yogurt, one after the other, and I'll show you how to do it. Beautiful. So I ended with the flour mixture and look how smooth and creamy this batter is. So now I'll show you how to make the cinnamon layer. To make the cinnamon layer, you take a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Give that a mix until it's blended. Super easy. You'll see how fun this is for the kids to do too. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a second. Now you're going to take your bundt pan and spray with non-stick cooking spray. I use butter flavored. And then we're going to take half of the batter that we made, this beautiful creamy smooth batter, and put that down into the bottom of the bundt pan. The great thing about cake is it always fixes itself as it bakes. So you can kind of slop it in here, clean up the edges, and you're good to go. So that's about half. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. And I know an extra 1/4 cup of sugar, let me get a little bit more in here, might seem like a lot, but when it bakes into this middle layer, oh, it's just the best. Okay, so now we take that cinnamon sugar layer to make sure it's really well blended. I like to just sprinkle cinnamon and sugar like this on toast. Okay, now we sprinkle that all the way around, and this is our hidden gem, the surprise when you slice through. So you can see how this has cut the flavors of breakfast or brunch, but it also makes a great dessert with fresh fruit, maybe a scoop of vanilla ice cream or vanilla frozen yogurt. Okay, the cinnamon layer's on. Make sure that's nice and even. And then we just put the second layer of cake right on top. Okay, once the cake is all in, just use a fork or a knife to make a nice even layer without disturbing that cinnamon layer too much. Just make sure you save enough cake for the top. You're better off having more cake on the top and not disturbing the sugar than putting most of the cake on the bottom. All right, this is looking good. Okay, the top is nice and smooth. So you just want to clean around the edges so this doesn't get burned or discolored in the oven. Use your finger, that works too. Okay, the oven's preheated to 400 degrees. This goes in for 8 minutes at 400 degrees, and then we're gonna lower the temperature to 350 for 35 to 40 more minutes. It'll be back. Okay, this is 8 minutes at 400 degrees, 35 minutes at 350 degrees. Let's check it. Oh yeah, she's ready. So I'm just gonna let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes on the rack, and then I'm gonna turn it upside down. This beautiful Bundt cake has cooled for about 5 to 10 minutes. It's still pretty warm, but it's safe to get out of the pan. So I just wanna go around the edges just to make sure nothing sticks. And then we wanna invert it onto a cake stand or whatever you wanna use. Easiest way to do it is to put the plate or the cake stand over top and then flip. Ready? Ta-da! How about that? I'm gonna let it cool a little bit more and then I'm gonna dust it with some powdered sugar. All right, the cake is cooled just enough, just a few more minutes. You just don't want the powdered sugar to melt. Isn't this pretty? You can do icing, you can do a confectioner's sugar milk mixture and make it more like a glaze, but I think this is just super easy and super fun. Okay, so that looks pretty awesome. So let me show you the most exciting part, the inside, where you get that surprise burst of cinnamon. Look at that. How about that? Happy Mother's Day. Let's get that to the plate. It's moist, cinnamony, and nothing says love like a warm cake from the oven. Okay, the cake is gorgeous, but how funny was Hank? Waiting for a crumb? I'll give him a treat, don't worry. This is the best cake for you to make this Mother's Day or any special occasion. It's easy, it's delicious, and it just says love. So I hope you share it with your friends and family, and I'll see you next time. Happy Mother's Day.